to the ACC. Tom, I'm going to go right back to you. We've got Duke as the favorite here at plus 130, UNC plus 140. I mean, as much as we might be surprised by that, I mean, it's really not much of a difference there, right? I mean, UNC beating Duke at Cameron Indoor, pretty impressive stuff. I have an outright ticket on UNC at plus 4,000 from like two to 3 months ago. Clemson plus 900, and then I don't know, Tom, that there's another team like I can't imagine Wake just going through the ACC tournament and winning, or Pitt or Virginia. So to me, it's the top 3 dogs and probably the top 2 dogs. Who do you like?
Yeah, I'm going to go with UNC here because they're not the favorite for some reason. They beat Duke twice. I do agree. I think Duke, North Carolina, and Clemson are the 3 teams. I mean, can a team that shoots the 3 well, like Pitt or Virginia Tech, get hot? Sure, but I don't think this is a very deep conference this year. The thing I like about North Carolina, too, is you mentioned I have a future on them, too, at 30-1. It looked like maybe they peaked in January. Then they went 2-3 in the conference, and I was like, they peaked too soon. But then they got back on track. And the one thing that I really like about this team is they're different from they're the anti-Kentucky, Alabama. They didn't play well defensively last year, and it was an effort thing. This year, you can see they're on a mission to play good defense. The effort is there. So I just don't know that the depth is here in the ACC to get a surprise pick. So I'm going to go with North Carolina at plus 140.
Okay, North Carolina plus 140. That's probably where I would lean as well. Zach, where do you lean?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Duke, the favorite here, plus 130. You see that wide gap on the odds sheet with Duke and UNC, and then the third at Clemson plus 900. There's a reason for that. I think you look at the bracket, Duke has the more favorable side of the bracket than North Carolina, so I don't think they would meet in the finals. That double bye is huge. You look at Duke's side in the potential matchup, probably going to face Syracuse in their first game, and they have just absolutely destroyed that zone over the last several years, because Syracuse just doesn't have that length anymore that they had in the prior seasons. And then maybe in the next round, the semifinal round, they would face Virginia, beat them 73-48, or even Clemson. They limited Clemson to 38% shooting. So I think they have that easier path, and they probably won't face North Carolina. North Carolina has a tough bracket on their side there. I think they get to avoid North Carolina in the final, and they're just going to have the more favorable matchups along the way. Duke plus 130.
All right, Larry. Well, Zach just brought up Clemson. Any chance you like a long shot, or at least a longer shot, in the ACC tournament?
Yeah, there is a case to be made at 9-1. A team that beat North Carolina had a 1-point loss to Duke. They start 4 seniors and a junior. This is a very veteran team with PJ Hall and Joe Girard. So they have the makings of a team that could go on a run and win it all. They haven't been consistent. We've seen some terrible lows from this team. But if things break right, yes, 9-1, Clemson could do this.
Clemson at plus 900. Certainly, I mean, listen, a chance to take. I would go with either UNC or Duke. I'm probably with Tom on UNC. By the way, there was a question from Danny Brasco. He says, hey, Larry, Tom, and Zach, thoughts on betting bigger long shots to win conference tournaments versus favorites with short plus money, considering you need to win multiple games to cash? Tom, I'm just going to kick that one over to you. What you got?
Yeah, you're always looking for chances to hedge, especially like when we get to the NCAA tournament. Like when you tell somebody, hey, I got Iowa State at 100-1, or you say, well, Iowa State's not going to win the tournament. Well, they don't need to. They don't have to win the tournament for us to win money. So when you bet those longer shots, you have a chance to hedge. Like if you took Stetson at plus 600, you could have hedged with Austin P yesterday if you wanted to. So it does make sense, but I do think what Zach said is important. You want a longer shot that's in a good part of the bracket. We're not talking about the Pac-12, but USC actually hurt themselves by winning against Arizona, because now they get Arizona again in the second round instead of being in that lower half of the bracket, which is a little bit easier. So if you're going to take these long shots, make sure they have a nice path to the finals.
All right. If you're going to take the long shots, make sure they have a nice path to the finals. That's the thing. I think we look at these odds sometimes and we're not doing what Zach was just talking about, which is looking at the path. That's obviously going to be super important. By the way, Lee Brown says Houston, UConn, Tennessee, and UNC. One of those will win the tourney. I don't doubt that, Lee Brown. I think those are 4 excellent teams. I'm pulling for my UNC ticket, but those other three teams, pretty good. Let's talk about some of them. Let's go to the Big 12 odds. We've got Houston. Oh, there they are, minus 165. Iowa State at plus 400. Baylor playing some better ball, plus 800. BYU, they can hang with anybody on any given night at plus 1,000. And then Kansas, all the way down at plus 1,400. That's very interesting. All right, Tom Casale, where are you at on this one? There's certainly a lot to choose from.
Yeah, and this is one of these conferences that it's how it's laid out. I was going to like a team down in the Kansas part of the bracket because, Kansas, they are what they are. Everyone kind of knows about them now, which is unfortunate heading into the NCAA tournament because I think we could have had some value betting against them. But they're vastly overrated this year. They don't do many things well. So you look at that bottom half of the bracket, and I look at Texas and Baylor as two teams I think that can make runs. I'm going to go with Baylor. They've shown they can beat the good teams in this conference. I like the makeup of this team. Listen, the Big 12 to me is one of these conferences that's so deep that you could get a team. I don't like Houston's odds at minus whatever. This conference is so deep. I think you could get 4 or 5 teams that can win it. So look at that bottom half of the bracket. I like Baylor's path to the finals, so I'm going to go with them plus 800.
Yeah, I think there's some pretty great value on Baylor at plus 800. I think that's the one that stuck out to me the most. But Zach, you like another plus money team. Who is it?
Yeah, just the second team on the list, Iowa State plus 400. I agree with Tom. This one is wide open. I could see any of the first 4 or 5 teams winning this. Even one of the long shots can have a chance with how competitive the Big 12 has been this year. But Iowa State, I think you look at losing the last game of the season to Kansas State. You want that incentive. You have to be playing well going into March Madness, going to be a high seed in the tournament. And you also want to show that you can play tournament basketball. That was one of the biggest things why I picked Iowa State. Their one in-season tournament this year. They went 1-2 in the ESPN Invitational. So I think this means a lot to Iowa State. If they do face Houston, they played them well this year, won the first matchup, were competitive, covered in the second matchup at Houston. So give me Iowa State at plus 400.
Okay, we got plus 400 Iowa State. We got plus 800 Baylor. Larry, are we going with another plus money team maybe further down the board?
I'm going with the Texas Longhorns, who have won this tournament twice recently, and they bring back.
We go to the Pac-12 odds, and Zach, I'm going to go to you. Arizona, the heavy favorite here, minus 165. When I look at Arizona, all I think of is, man, this team is they've got talent, but they're really underwhelming. So, personally, I don't think I can go there. Colorado, that seems more appetizing to me. Washington State really fluttered down the stretch. I don't think they've got it. I think Oregon at plus 1,400 is interesting. But to me, it's a no to Arizona. What do you say? Are you on Arizona or someone down the board?
Well, I can't take that juice with Arizona at minus 165. First, it's going to be sad to see this Pac-12 tournament go bye-bye, at least in terms of the teams we're used to seeing, especially me being out west. I love the Pac-12, but I'm going to go with Colorado at 5-1. One thing about the tournament is you want to tail teams that are hot, and Colorado's won 6 straight games. Eddie Lampkin Jr. is really playing well in the interior as of late, and they have bucket getters. You want guys that can get buckets. They have that in Tristan Da Silva and KJ Simpson, and they were a team that were ranked in the top 25 early in the season. Sometimes you can forget that through the 3-4 months of the college basketball year, and this is a team that has incentive. If they're on the bubble right now, they want to win and assure themselves of not having to watch the screen on Selection Sunday about getting into the big dance.
Zach likes Colorado. Danny Brasco likes Colorado. He's still in the chat. I kind of like Colorado. Tom, is it unanimous?
It is unanimous. I love Colorado in this tournament. The thing about Colorado is, listen, I know they don't always win away from home, but they had some injuries this year. When you're talking about just starting 5, when future NBA lottery pick Cody Williams is in there, there's not many teams in the country that have a better starting 5. They're not very deep, but KJ Simpson, Lampkin, Da Silva, Cody Williams, this is a talented team, and they drew the bottom of the bracket, so they don't have to face Arizona to the finals. And listen, I was going to take USC like everybody else. Here's the problem for me with USC at 14-1. They beat Washington. Their next game is Arizona. They're going to have to beat Arizona twice in a week. I'm sorry, the odds just aren't there with you. Because Arizona, listen, sometimes they sleepwalk, but once you beat them, they come back angry. So I just don't like USC's path. I love Colorado's path at plus 500. Give me the Buffaloes.
All right, we all like the Buffaloes, including Lee Brown, who says, Colorado with a dash of Oregon. Oregon is the garnish. Ali, you're speaking my language. I absolutely love how you phrase that.